every goddamn week.
Welcome to Every Goddamn Week. I'm Chris LaRose, and this is a podcast where I talk about stuff. Mainly movies. That's been a pattern for a really long time. I'm going to have some episodes coming up. You're going to have to not miss those, where I'm not talking about movies. I'm going to break from my usual comfort zone of movie topics, or podcast topics, which is just movie. I got to do something else. So I'm going to get weird with it, like really weird with it pretty soon. Talk about some just weird shit. Weird stuff I discovered on the internet. Stuff like that. No, it's going to be fun. But there's definitely a theme going on here, which is like mind-fucking and insanity. And, you know, with these movies I've been reviewing, like what did I do last week? Under the Silver Lake, and now I'm doing Total Recall.
Every goddamn week.
Vastly different movies from different eras, different genres, different pace, definitely different pace. This is a fucking hard movie to take notes on. I had to keep pausing because it's fucking fast paced, right? But with a similar, like, your reality is bullshit kind of thing. Like, you know, what is reality, man? You know, kind of postmodern, I guess. You know, deconstructing everything you thought made the world real. Yeah, so I'm gonna get into Total Recall 1990, if that's not clear, not the remake. I'm just never gonna do that. I don't think I've seen it actually. I have friends that worked on it, and they're like, "Oh, the effects are really good," and okay, I'll watch some clips of the really cool effects. I think the effects in this movie are a lot cooler because you can tell they're little puppets and makeups and shit. So I'm gonna get down to that, but first, whether or not I'm talking about movies on a podcast, I'm gonna keep doing my segment that I hate and I suck at, but I keep doing it. It's spoiler-free mini reviews. Yeah, so my review, spoiler-free mini review this week is for Stella. What's that? Well, it's a TV show that had one season, and I just found the DVD I have. The DVD. That's how old this fucking show is. This is pre-Blu-ray. Maybe Blu-ray existed, but I didn't have it then. Yeah, Michael Ian Black, Michael Showalter, and David Wayne are really, really funny. They're like really, really funny. What I just did, just there, that's like in high school, I watched this show and one of the characters, that's not spoiling, but he did a voice like that. And I thought it was the funniest, just a really specific, like, I'm really, really, describing yourself in that way. I'm really, really intelligent. I'm really, really cool. You know, I don't know. I kept quoting him like that. And I just did it just now because I'm talking about the show. So point being, for me and for a lot of people, basically anybody I've talked to who got the show, man, who really became a fan, and got the humor and really, really not just was like, yeah, it's funny, but like got why I'm bringing it up on a podcast. They all will admit that like their humor has been influenced by the show, especially considering like watching it when we're younger and stuff and impressionable and stupid and. Yeah, I remember watching it with every new episode. I would actually I didn't do this a lot, but I would be like, oh, Stella's on, gotta go watch, and then talk about it the next day and just like, what was that? And I actually don't want to spoil it because the way they marketed it was like, this is not sketch comedy, this is not improv, this is not this is not this. And you're like, what is it? It's what, 3 guys in suits in New York being silly? That's it. So go watch it. It's absurd, it's silly, it's fucking stupid sometimes. And if you're just too cultured and intelligent and you just, forget that. No, you're not. If you like Monty Python, you will like this. If you like funny stuff, I don't know what else to compare it to. What's more absurd? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, go watch it. Go watch Stella if you can get your hands on it. I'll lend you my DVD. Yeah. So on to Total Recall. I hope that was a good segment. So Total Recall, man. This is the 90s now. 1990. I was born when this movie came out. Yeah, I was born in 1989, the year Batman came out. That's why I love Batman. Although the top movie, the week that I was born, Lethal Weapon 2, I think. Yeah, 2. So great. But yeah, anyway, so 1990, Total Recall, fucking Arnold. This is after 80s Arnold, so he's like established as like the action hero, badass, muscle man, defeated the Predator, was the Terminator. He says fuck you in this movie, and it sounds like the Terminator. I'm going to do this in 2 parts probably, because this is a lot of notes, and I think that's just how this podcast is going to go. Just me rambling for chunks at a time, and then you get straight rants, and then you get just 2. You get a double dose, 2 barrels right in your fucking face. I'm wasting time. This is a long, complicated movie. I got to get down to. Oh, yeah. So on the theme of like mind fucking, this is all about. That's what this is. This is like sci-fi action thriller, but unlike say like Armageddon or something like that, it's smart and clever and not stupid and not sappy, and it's cynical, and it's based on something really cool. And yet it still has like all this great action, all this great just thriller stuff, but it's meta and makes you think. I found out about this movie as a young teen. My like uncle, who's we were talking about like math and philosophy and all these concepts, and then he kind of somehow this led to him bringing up Total Recall, and he described one of the scenes of the movie, and I went like, wow, that's nuts. This is like, I think, wow, this is like maybe after I'd seen The Matrix, so I was already interested in this kind of false reality, and The Truman Show got me interested in false reality stuff. And here it's just played so interesting. I didn't actually, so this is based on a Philip K. Dick book, and he himself, like one of the reasons I got more into him more recently is that I had experiences like his, not as extreme, but like, I'll explain what I mean. He like had dental surgery or something, and so he was drugged, and I guess he was in a weird headspace. He throughout his life, he did like speed and acid and stuff, but a lot of people do those things, and they don't all write amazing books about the nature of reality. Almost nobody does that. So this guy's pretty significant, and he was really serious about this shit. But one of the common things with like schizophrenic people and like just schizoid reactions to stuff, and is like thinking aliens are contacting you. I notice other patterns. Like I know like the homeless people. Some of them, there's lots of them, but some of them in my area, and like a lot of parallels, a lot of similarities. Also, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to get into next week's episode, but this keeps happening. There's like certain things that they've laid out in this movie, and that Philip K. Dick would keep touching on as sort of aspects of like a fantasy reality, and this just comes throughout this movie. So, I hinted that I'd gone through stuff like this. Yeah, I did. So Philip K. Dick had a weird, crazy experience where he saw aliens or something. Like that's part of it. He felt like he was being contacted by aliens. He had strange experiences where he was seeing lights, and you can go, well, he had something misfired in his brain. Yeah, probably. But and he respected that, but he was also fascinated with like he couldn't get over this episode and similar experience that he had. And then for me, this kind of really manifested it. Like other ways, other times, dreams, weird experiences. Ate too many hot peppers and had literally like in Southern California went to like a Day of the Dead thing where I ate too much Mexican food and I like had a crazy fever dream where I understood death afterwards and stuff. Like there's stuff like that, but this specific thing where you feel like aliens are talking to you and then you get information out of it. Going on the record saying I had that happen where I was working way too much. I was working up to 100-hour weeks on, I think it was Zoolander 2. Visual effects for Zoolander 2. I often bring this up as just like this absurd thing that I had to do, which was like just work crazy long hours, sitting at a desk, which I don't like to sit for a long time like that, unless I'm doing a podcast. But this is a couple hours at most, sitting for that long every day, never seeing the sun, and drinking a ton of coffee, not taking any other drugs, really, just really at all, just taking coffee, just doing coffee all day, not getting good sleep, staring at the screens all the time, going out of my mind. I ended up writing a story, long story, like, oh, this is going to be a screenplay. And I should find it, scan it, and show it to you because it was like, here's a character who's going through a sci-fi version of something I am experiencing right now, which was being contacted by what I could only interpret as aliens. The reason I'm comfortable bringing this up is that it was the really freaky, spooky thing about it was that after this, I wrote another thing called End of Lockdown, which was about a legitimate threat that was dangerous enough that the government it was set in Canada, I guess. They made everybody stay in their homes. They're all like locked into their homes, basically. And they couldn't go out for their own safety. And then this exact thing happened a few years later. Not exactly the same way, obviously. I turned it into a sci-fi thing because it's easier to deal with the shit if you just turn it into like over-the-top, impossible sci-fi. Yeah, and then I got really into Philip K. Dick after that. I feel like I've only scratched the surface because he wrote a lot of stuff, but I don't know. It gave me a new appreciation for this kind of material, because what he was fascinated by was like the creativity and insanity kind of going together, and I think that's really true. That just makes intuitive sense, right? If you're just rational all the time and you're just reacting to things and not creating anything, that's fine. But you had to be a bit mad to create. So that's all. This is all preamble. Let's get into the actual meat of it. Do you like my story about me not sleeping enough and working too hard and drinking too much coffee and kind of losing my mind? I'm sure there are other factors I'm not taking into account here, but that was definitely a weird experience. So, Total Recall. Fucking awesome Arnold. Perfect for the time, perfect for his age. Like, really fun. This is a really fun movie. I didn't really like taking notes on it. I will keep complaining about that, I think, because you just want to watch it. It's just a super fun time. The style of everything is great. The lighting, everything just feels weird and cold and metallic. After a party once, there's like a bunch of us were still awake when the sun came up, and this guy, he had a projector and he projected on his wall, this movie, Total Recall, first thing in the morning when you're like kind of coming down off a party and you're like, oh wow. And it was an interesting day. It really sets up your day to feel weird as hell when you stay up all night and then watch Total Recall. I think I had a nap later, but like I had to like transit home and stuff. And anyway, again, like it opened me. Actually, I would say it opened me up to this movie a little more. It opened my mind. Anyway, enough of my personal stories. Quaid. You get these really cool long intro credits, right? Seriously long, but really well stylized and like with a hot, fiery red and orangey kind of. It's Mars. We're going to Mars later, guys. And we open on Mars, so we know where this story is going. Sick Mars shot. Yeah, these like really super red and It's salt on your nervous system. It's awesome. That's how you get me invested in your movie. Sick shot of people in spacesuits. Yep. And it's Arnold and this woman. Actually, going back to this part now, it's kind of strange. I know this is just a dream sequence, but that kind of, I don't know how it fit. Whatever. We'll get it through this. Arnold and some woman in spacesuits. Arnold falls down a hill, and his spacesuit breaks. He makes Arnold sounds. Lots of great Arnold sounds in this movie. Like, yeah! He dies horribly, and his eyes bulge out. It's like that's what happens when you are exposed to Martian atmosphere. You know, they're establishing a lot visually here. It's really great. Not a single word, just showing you, needs to be said. Just showing you this is enough to kind of get you queued up. So I'm in. Let's watch this movie. This is going to be wow, if it starts here, where's it going to go? And then, Arnold wakes up. Just a nightmare. His super hot wife, Lori, it's like, this is getting to be an obsession. Stop being obsessed with Mars. And then she's like, was she there? So she's jealous of this dream woman. It's all very, like, I mentioned, like, the elements of, like, sort of schizoid fantasies, and I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I just noticed a lot. I noticed a lot that this is, like, a frequent thing is like, oh, there's this woman and she's in love with me, you know, we're in love, and it's like all part of a fantasy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just brainwashed from lots of fiction and like Taxi Driver and stuff. It's like, yeah, they're always obsessed with some woman. But I don't know. I don't think so. It's like, you know, people will assassinate, like crazy people will assassinate someone or whatever, shoot like a celebrity to impress another celebrity or what. I'm going to do this to impress Jodie Foster. You know, there's always this like lonely or like, I don't know, just want like needing this, having this fantasy woman kind of, it's a pattern. And it makes sense, by the way, with the rest of this movie's kind of themes, because it's not just about like a guy losing his mind. It's about like, say what's being sold to you, like what happens to your brain when like you're in. It's a very American movie. When you're, because like you just have like the ultimate American action star and anyway, but it just has that like, and Mars has sort of like a winky like metaphor. Like it's actually about America. I guess. I mean, it could be a lot of things, but Philip K. Dick stuff is very like Americana, very like corporate America. Actually, I guess is probably a better way of putting it. Yeah, so with this, it's like, oh, he's not happy with his job and his wife here. Come on, baby, you know you're the girl of my dreams. They fuck. Yeah. Arnold watches the news in his awesome home. He lives in this amazing home that has like a screen where you can look out at a fake landscape or whatever. And then, like, what does he do? He's a jackhammerer. So anyway, he's watching news. Violence on Mars. Military foreshadowing. You know, military's got to deal with these rebels. These dicks on Mars. Just a bunch of people fighting each other. Oh, God. You know, and she's like, the wifey's going like, hey, don't worry about the news. Don't worry about current events. Just focus on me and our little life here. And, I don't even know if she brings up wanting kids or anything, but meh. He wants to move to Mars. Let's move to Mars. He can't stop watching the fucking news. He's trying to escape his life through what seems like a more authentic reality, I guess. And he just has this urge to go to Mars. It's like subconsciously there's something going on there. Quado is mentioned here for the first time. The name Quado is interesting. Sounds like Quaid, but I'm getting ahead of myself. He seems to be the cause of all the kerfuffle on Mars, or he's really something to do with him. Quaid, Arnold, he's like, I was meant for something more. He wants to be somebody. He wants, you know, but this is like the life that has been sold to you. throughout the 20th century and beyond. It's like, you know, and now in all new and novel, amazing ways, you know, you can go on the internet and it's like, well, these guys made money with Shopify, and if you loser, you know, you have to go to a job. These guys get to just go around the world and have fun. And maybe I'm projecting a little bit because I've watched those ads and I'm like, man, wouldn't it be nice just to start a stupid store on the internet or whatever and buy cheap shit on AliExpress and sell it? And like, you know, I looked into that. I'm just like, wow, this is like, yeah, no, this is, maybe that'll work out for you. I don't know. But like, it's along with a lot of dreams that are sold to you. Which is, what is the name of the book that this is based on? It's called like, oh my God, I'm the worst podcaster in the world. It's called, whatever. It's just a book review. But no, it's like we can remember it for you wholesale. Never mind. I don't. The movie titles are always better. You know, Blade Runner is a better title than Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Period. That's just badass, and the other one is like, do androids dream of electric sheep? Like, you're a fucking nerd. Said the guy sci-fi movie podcasting about a sci-fi movie. Anyway, a little hungover today. My mind is gonna slip all over the place. Anyway, yeah, so he wants something more. What is, you know, it's not enough having a insanely beautiful wife and a nice house and a stable job and drinking buddies or whatever. Whatever, your little life just isn't enough, and you got to be number one, and you got to get ahead, and you know, you don't have this thing. So if you don't have the money to buy this thing, or you don't have the status or whatever it is, it's just like, it's like, therefore you must, you know, we'll sell you this and then you'll be better, and we'll finance it. And it's just the water we swim in, right? It's like, we're kind of used to that at this point, but it's like, it's not a natural thing to have just constant lifestyle sales going on around you, where it's like, you know, you're just, oh, your life is too boring. You need to spice it up. Buy a thing. Anyway. But yeah, that's like throughout. They'll get a salesman later who's just like spelling it out for you. It's like, you know, your life is lame. You know, buy a fake life from us. You get the fucking premise in the movie yet? Anyway, so yeah, Arnold commutes. Yeah, boring life, right? Doesn't even have a car. He's got to commute. You know, you think of Arnold in on a Harley, or like riding, I don't know, riding a helicopter on the pontoon, going, or whatever, or having a cool car at least. It's like, nope, he's on the subway, and they make you go through an X-ray that detects guns. Wonder if that'll come up later. And then you get the ads. So yeah, this is the Recall is the name of the company. That there's a commercial on the train, so you're just stuck looking at this. There's a picture I keep seeing online of like, I think I've seen it twice, but it's like, it's just depressing. It's just made to like depress you, and it's like it's just like divorce. It's just pictures of ads on like a bus or a train, and it says like it's for like divorce lawyers, and then what else, like. And then like sex stuff, like selling you sex, basically, or like the Museum of Sex. It's sort of like, it's like, I don't know. It's just like pushing people away from what they, I don't know. There's something creepy about that. It's like, get a divorce and go have all kinds of crazy sex, even though you're in your 40s. Because there are people who do this. Like it's like the classic midlife crisis thing. That's what this movie is, right? Anyway, but yeah, so he's getting a video ad saying like, where a little gross little man explicitly says like, your life is boring. He says, you're over the hill. Don't let life pass you by. And life is what we define as the advertiser, not whatever you have or whatever, you know, you were taught as a kid even. It's like, It's like you got a wife and a nice life, fine. But actually, that's not life. What we've got for you is life. Come on over here. And it feels, I wrote, feels oddly real. This environment, even Arnold, because he's supposed to be playing more of an everyman. And him being a little older, and looking, I think, I know he's a movie star and everything, but like he looks he looks his age. That's not common for for movie stars, right? But he looks at least his age because of his steroid use and all his tanning and stuff. You can see like he's just like kind of wrinkly. Perfect. Again, like everything just fits. He says later like too perfect, and I'm like, this movie's too perfect, man. Anyway, so he's jackhammering. I love this. I notice little things every time, and I remember when I noticed like his biceps, like it's funny when he jackhammers because like his glorious muscles just like jiggle, and it looks so silly. He's like, anyway, and he's digging down into the ground. A lot of themes, eh? Because later on he goes into some tunnels. He's going underground on Mars. Not to get ahead of myself. But yeah, and so here, like, his job is to dig. He's digging into reality. No, but right now he's just digging into the earth. Into some concrete or rocks or whatever. And he's talking to his little buddy, his little schlubby friend, little coworker guy, fat little coworker, and he's saying like, I'm thinking about doing recall. I'm gonna do a lot of bad Arnold. I'm thinking about doing the bad recall. Wait, what? I'm thinking about doing a bad Arnold impression. No, I won't do too much of that. No, I'm thinking about doing recall, he says. And the guy's like, don't do that. You're gonna get a lobotomy. They're gonna zap your brain. So, I didn't do a very good job at all of explaining what the fuck recall is. They make you think that you have been on a vacation. That's it. Implanting stuff into your brain, kind of like Blade Runner or, okay, not going to spoil any of your favorite or what will be favorite movies like Ghost in the Shell, but implanting memories is a thing in sci-fi. And this Philip K. Dick guy sure likes doing it. Sure likes doing that to characters. So here it's like, I don't know, where implanted memories is kind of like a creepy thing. It's like fucking with the nature of your reality and brainwashing you essentially. But it's like brainwashing you or just like brain decorating you, going into your brain and hanging up pictures of shit that didn't happen. And then you're like, oh yeah, I went to the beach and it was great, but I don't, and it's cheaper than actually going and all this. So Arnold is like, sounds good. I need an escape from my life, and I'm being exploited by this ad, and it's working. And his friend's like, dude, don't just like eat more McDonald's like me, and drink more beer, and don't worry, don't fuck with your brain, pal, is what he says. So in the next scene, Arnold goes to recall, totally ignoring this guy and common sense. But he's just gotta, he's gotta get out there and live life by having a fake life put into his memory. Oh yeah, this girl's coloring her nails with a magic sci-fi thing. Oddly cheerful creepily cheerful receptionist. Like maybe she's had some work done on the old brain. Salesman, I love this. Makes Arnold seem kind of dumb. Yes. Quaid just seems like slow compared to this guy because he's just like cocaine. No, he's just, his sales pitch is down. Everything looks like Star Trek. Yes. The hard sell is great. He's like, don't just go on. He's like, instead of going on vacation, we send you, he's profiling him. He's like, you're like a butch man who like, I don't know, is Arnold Schwarzenegger. So he's like, why don't we make you like an action hero? Seem good? And Arnold insists on going to Mars. He really wants to go to Mars. And the guy goes, hey, with recall, everything is perfect. Oh, and he sells him something called the ego trip. So this is awesome. This movie's great because it it takes these sort of subtler or kind of out there ideas and just like with psychological implications to them, and just makes them real fucking simple. So you can watch this first thing in the morning after not sleeping, say, and get it. So it's like the ego trip. It's like, oh, I get it. So they're selling you an ego trip, so you can feel like you're more than you are, because that's what the ego does. It if it gets out of control, it makes you think that you're whatever you can imagine, and then you lose all respect for anything outside yourself. This is me describing narcissism, basically. So that's, I mean, I guess, again, not a psychologist. This is all just my like ridiculously pathetic understanding of these things. But you can still, even just with my understanding of these concepts, I can get this movie and not just like zone out and wait for the shooting. It's nice. So the ego trip, the big smiley salesman pitches the opportunity to become someone else. Okay, so it's not just you going somewhere; it's you becoming someone else, and then going somewhere as that person. So this is a total takeover of you, basically, corruption of your soul. For fuck's sake, I think you know, it's one thing to be like, and this is how the devil works on you. This is how like anyone who wants to like control you, I should say, I guess, another way of putting it. It's not just like do this thing. It's like do this thing so much that you become what we want you to be. That's what propaganda is, by the way. Like, you don't sell bacon. This is like in the Edward Bernays, that's his name, book, Propaganda. It's like, you don't sell bacon by saying like it's cheap and it gives you lots of energy, and it fills you up. You don't say that necessarily. That's old fashioned. Like by now it's old fashioned, because actually what you want to do is you say like, it's a hearty meal that you give to your family, and then your family's going to love you because it tastes good. And by the way, I'm a sucker for this. Like, you know, I eat bacon like fucking crazy, and I'll go over to my girlfriend, I'll give her some, and then she's all happy, and we're like, we're eating bacon together. Like, shit, the big bacon worked on her tricks worked on me. That's like a very specific example, but like selling a lifestyle is generally how I'd frame all this. Anyway, so yeah, be the hero, save the girl, beat the bad guy, just like Arnold would do in any movie, based pretty well, unless he's a villain, which is rare and awesome. But yeah, you know, the movie gets so meta right here in this moment, just being like, it's like, you want to be a movie star hero man, a guy that's actually a movie star hero man. You know, do you want to do that for like, do you want to experience that? We'll go through this. It's kind of like, it's sort of like holding up the mirror to the movie, the movies themselves, and saying like, look, the emperor has no clothes here. This is bullshit. Movies are bullshit. Great. There's a satirical element to all this director's stuff, Verhoeven, right? Yeah, there's always like a satirical side to things, but part of it is also like, it's like the movie making fun of itself. It's like it's never taking itself. It'll take itself seriously, but then like mock itself. I like that a lot. Yeah, so Arnold's put in this machine. They're gonna, you know, fuck his brain up. Something about some alien artifacts on Mars. Oh, I think that was on the TV. So now this movie is really fast paced. Holy shit. I'm on like page 3 of my notes. And like, now is the point where you start really questioning reality because of what happens later. I'm just going to spoil that. Like the idea is that like everything from the point he's put into the machine is just part of the ego trip, or it's not. So I like movies like this where, you know, it can be one or the other. There's always going to be that person that's like, no, it's definitely this. I'm hesitant to make any examples because I don't want to spoil good movies, but I get into these debates where people are like, no, it's definitely like this. I'm like, well, no, because if you check out this part of the movie, it's kind of, it's a constant question of what is of what is reality. That's more interesting to me. And this movie pulls it off really well, because this, even now, I'm going through this whole thing, and I'm like, is any of Quaid's adventure on Mars real, or is this all in his head? So here's where we start questioning, is when he's put in this machine. He gets a neck injection. So there you go. Like, maybe he's just out for this whole motherfucker. Wouldn't he be? I mean, they like sedate him. But they have to ask him questions about his dream woman. Like, look, we're going to set you up with a fake woman in your fantasy. So, she's got to be up to your specifications. Every time I watch this, I'm like, voluptuous. They go through the body types, and it's like, I think you have like lean, or like dainty or something, and then athletic, and then voluptuous, which is like big butt, big boobs. And then I remember the first time I watched this, I was like, bingo, voluptuous right there. And then Arnold's like, athletic. Fine, you fucking bozo. Yeah. Not judging. It's just like, for me, I just kind of go like, yeah, okay. Sporty Spice, huh? All right, sure. Yeah, so, and what else? He's got to choose like her hair color. He goes brunette, athletic, and what kind of personality. And then he says sleazy, but then he's like, as he's drifting off from the neck injection, he's like demure. So he wants sleazy and demure. So all these specifications, right? He wants a brunette who's athletic and sleazy, but also demure. And he passes out in this sparkly machine. Oh yeah, so salesman is with this woman client being like, look, we can give you souvenirs when and there's a muscle man on TV. So it's like, after seeing like Arnold do all this, like there's this woman and she's being sold the ego trip or whatever, some kind of trip where she will be will have some kind of encounter with this very muscular man. Okay. That's just interesting. And she's like, I don't know. Yeah. It's just, everybody in this movie, a lot of people in this movie just hate the normal people. I'm just like, this remind me of like just the slobs you run into. Like, I don't know. And then this cheesy salesman guy, it's like, get me away from these people. Get me out of here. Get me to Mars. Yeah, so there's an emergency. The salesman knows a lot about his tech, it turns out, because he goes in and he's like, I thought he was just there to sell these experiences, but apparently he knows kind of how it all works. He goes in to see Quaid, who's making Arnold noises and trying to get out. He goes like, no, my name is not Quaid. But his name is Quaid. What's going on? So something bad has happened. As the jackhammer buddy forewarned, perhaps Arnold is having his brain turned into mush. And he's extremely violent and huge, and he's got to be subdued with some drugs. It's like, oh, he's just acting out the ego trip. That's not possible. Why not? Because we haven't implanted it yet. Shit. So, seems odd, right? But it's like, yeah, as soon as they put him under whatever drugs they gave him, this is very Philip K. Dick, right? Like, right? They sedated him for dental surgery, and then he woke up and realized, oh my God, like aliens are talking to me, and so here, this is kind of doing that, where he's been drugged, and then he's woken up to some reality that he wasn't, his mind was blocking out or whatever. That's how I'm interpreting all of this. Or it's all part of his ego trip, like the salesman said, and this is all bullshit. But she says they haven't implanted it, so that's not possible. But maybe they have, and this is just part of it, kind of cool. So they're like, let's get rid of him. We've never heard of Douglas Quaid. That's his name, right? No, it's not Dennis Quaid. We've never heard of Randy Quaid. So yeah, they dump Quaid in a Johnny cab, which is like there's like a plastic man in the front. It's like, welcome to Johnny Cab, blah, 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 blah. This is the future, guys. This is what we have to look forward to. Shitty fucking AI that doesn't fucking work right. Running everything, every aspect of your life. So instead of some guy delivering sushi to your doorstep, it's going to be a robot, and it's going to deliver it halfway across town because it fucked up somewhere. You know, I just got a new smartphone, brand new, not really top of the line, cheaped out a bit. It's not an iPhone, so I'm a loser. I'm a boomer, according to the young people I talk to. But you know, I've spent tons of money on phones. I've spent very little money on phones. They all break and they all do things that piss me off. And right here, the Johnny Cab screwing around, and he's like, yeah. He gets in the stupid Johnny Cab, and anyway, cool sci-fi building, blah blah blah. Yeah, I hate these Johnny Cabs. I don't know why I hate them so much. Maybe because it's like replacing workers. We have actual cab drivers on Mars, but then on Earth you have like the automated version. I don't know. Like, I just went grocery shopping yesterday. I had to use those self-checkouts, and there's like a person whose job it is to explain the self-checkouts. I'm like, oh, man, is it really, you're really saving that much money by making people check out their own groceries? Anyway, so Johnny Cab can go fuck himself. So Gary from work offers a drink to Quaid, and then he pulls a gun, and he's like, come on, let's go. And then goons come out with him, and there's a lot of this. It feels like Inception almost, where just like everything's fine, and then like, nope, reality's fucked, and everybody's your enemy. Here they come. Or The Matrix is another one where it's like, I just love this. It's a great thing to do in a movie, and it's done really well in this, where it's like, just like suddenly bad guys out of nowhere. And then Gary, who's supposed to be his friend, turns out he's pissed at him and gonna kill him. And he's like, you blabbed about Mars, so this is all so now you're asking the question that the little weird guy asks Quaid later, which is like, what's more likely, that he's fantasizing and having a dream about people from his real life being, you know, secret bad guys or secret agents or whatever, you know, or maybe he's maybe it's true. Maybe maybe everybody in his life is really someone else. Again, very like schizophrenic sort of thing, you know, thinking that people have been replaced with doppelgangers. Geez, I even had that for a while. When I was in high school, I had like I was getting panic attacks a lot, and again, not sleeping very well. Had a weird time where I thought like my parents were aliens, and that, yeah, mainly that just like everybody in my family was replaced with a doppelganger. Stephen King says, I think, I hope I'm attributing this to the right person, but he says that's like the definition of terror is coming home and realizing that your whole family's been replaced. There's just something so like universal about that idea. I don't know. Yeah, evil twins, you know, something super spooky about that. But here it's done really cool, and just like action movie style, where it's like, I'm secretly a spy. Oh, whoa. Now they're in this like cool brutalist concrete space. Love all the fucking sets and locations in this movie. And Arnold kicks all their asses. So there. Pretty cool. It's just like fighting. It's all close up, and then it just cuts to him just like kicking the last guy's ass, and they're all on the floor, and Arnold's there, and I think he's got a gun now. He explains it to his hot wife. She's like, you're having paranoid delusions. You call this a delusion? He's got blood all over his hands. Bah, bah, bah. She calls a doctor, but actually it's Michael Ironside, whose character's name is Richter. Yes. Yep. So someone shoots at Arnold. There's a lot of stuff in this movie where it got boring to write, and I just wanted to watch it. And it was mostly the parts where Quaid He's being chased. Anyway, but yeah, here Lori starts fighting him. Pretty sexy. She's in her like her recreation clothes, in her her active wear, and she's a sexy woman. My personal opinion. But anyway, so she's fighting him. It's a sexy fight. Why are you doing this, Lori? He has a gun to her fucking face, and she finally says, "I'm not your wife. Your whole life is an implant." The old switcheroo saying like, "No, we're not putting an implant in you. Your life is the implant." Yeah. Which is, yeah, again, this is all subtle psychological, well, not so subtle, very heavy-handed, hard sell style, emotional manipulation and psychological manipulation. Pretty good. Yeah, so then the job is set up by the agency. If I'm not me, who am I? There's lots of cool lines like that. Beats me, I just work here. Then she acts all horny again, like, hey, well, maybe you could tie me up, you know? Maybe you can fuck me one more time for old time's sake, eh, big boy? And he's like, clever girl. You're just distracting me so that Michael Ironside and the goons can come and get me. And he punches her out. I said he punches her out. Good. Good. I mean, it is. She's super evil. She's an evil femme fatale, a vixen, needs to be spanked. Goons enter Quaid's home. Michael Ironside, should I call him that? I'll call him Richter. He's balding. He's ugly. He wears a suit. He's slimy. But he's in love with Lori, it turns out. They're together. He's very protective of her here. And this tech goon tracks Quaid. So, what? I can track him. That's weird. They can follow him to the subway. And then Richter and Lori are making out. So they're actually together. Weird. That'd be pretty weird. That'd be like a real mindfuck if, like, you know, one day you have, like, a beautiful wife, and then the next you find out that, like, this guy is just doing her. It's like, oh, man. Like, if Michael Ironside walked in right now and he's like, guess what? That's not how he talks, but if he was like, guess what? Your whole life is a lie. And, yeah, your girlfriend's been doing me the whole time. I'd be like, Arnold is spotted with gun in the x-ray. Wow, that happened pretty quick. By the way, guns in this movie, cool. What is the name of the gun? You see this one gun a bunch of times. Jeez, I have it written down here. It is Gonks GA custom. Oh yeah, with a custom shroud, sort of like a Tech 9 shroud on the barrel. But it looks super sci-fi. Even without the modification, it looks extremely sci-fi, but almost like Star Wars, like it's gonna shoot lasers. So they add this like barrel shroud to make it look cooler, I guess, and to make it look more realistic. Anyway, lots of little things like that are just a little different. Anyhow, cool chasing crowd. Yeah, I love it. He's running through like escalator land, which really feels like a dream to me. Like I have dreams like this where you're just in like a fluorescently lit space that's just like escalators and stairs, like based on just like malls and parking garages that your brain has filtered out that you don't think about them. But then it's like, you went to all these places. You've spent lots of time going up and down stairs and looking, you know, from parking garages or whatever. And they're stored in your brain. And then here you are. So yeah, dreamlike. Goons shooting. Yeah. Richter steps on a dead guy. Yeah. Pretty brutal. It's like cheeky, funny brutality in these movies. I remember my parents not being thrilled about me watching Paul Verhoeven films, but I'm like, I get that this is like tongue in cheek. I get that it's not all like super serious or let alone fucking realistic. I'm not an idiot. Yeah, playing big walls, blah blah blah. Sets are great, good. where's all this shot? I don't know. Quaid escapes to a train. And then that same old weird guy is selling real space travel on TV. Kind of like another little nudge, like, okay, the next step in this, in your like video game life is to go to Mars for real. And Arnold shakes his head like, oh, those advertisers or whatever. Oh yeah, and like Richter's awesome. Michael Ironside's a great actor. He really is. Like, just so much complexity in this, henchman character. Yeah, and he just yells at the train. He's just like, ah, great. Oh yeah, and he's discussing with one of his guys, Laurie, having sex with Quaid, and he's like, you don't think she liked it, did you? And he goes, no, I'm sure she hated every minute of it. Come on. So, evil boss of Richter, this is Cohagen. He's like the evil king of Mars. He, just like ultimate slimy evil politician. Who, could you even call him a politician? He's just like the CEO of Mars or something. I don't know what his fucking job is. Anyway, yeah, and he's on one of these video phones warning that Quaid will soon have total recall. That's the name of the movie. He's like, just go get him back. Just set him up with Laurie again. Come on. He's going to remember everything, and then we're going to be screwed. He knows something. By the way, if you haven't seen Johnny Mnemonic, this is very similar to that, but a much better movie. That's like proto Matrix, I guess. This movie where like Keanu Reeves has important information stored in his mind, just like this. Anyway, but this is obviously this is better. I like that movie. Don't get me wrong. But come on, no one even knows what movie I'm talking about. Johnny, what? So Richter is fiddling with some knobs. Like, oh, I can't. My video phone is broken. I got sunspots. We should have killed Quaid on Mars. So Quaid's been to Mars. He's been, There's lots of mystery still. It's kind of like it works so well. Because, like, Quaid doesn't know shit about his old life, so you don't have... If this is just his ego trip at recall, then, well, it's kind of... That sure is convenient because you don't have to... You can keep stringing him along without much information. Which is funny because that's how Cohagen strings... what's his name? Michael Ironside. Richter along. He says, like, I'm not going to... I don't tell you enough. I don't give you information. He's like... Tells him to his face, like, you don't need any more information. You just do what you're told and keep going. They're both doing this in a way, just like blindly going and obeying. They track him. We got him. We're in. So they're following him around on a map. They're like, we're zooming in. That's all done really well too. In Johnny Mnemonic, it's like super awful. He's like VR and hand like glove controller things, moving stuff around, and the internet. Fuck off. This is so much better. It just looks like Google Maps or something, following a little red dot. So much better. I don't know why I'm deciding to shit on that movie so much. I think just to point out how it's easy to fuck this stuff up, and this movie doesn't. Yeah. Arnold finds video phone. Yes. He's in this little room with a video phone. And and some dude is there, yeah. It really does feel like a video game or something. Like, you gotta go, there's all these little missions, like this guy says, like, okay, wrap a wet towel around your head and that'll block the signal for now. And he's like, look outside, I'm down at a payphone. He's his buddy from Mars, and he's got like a case, he's got a briefcase or something for Arnold. And he's like, you gave me this, and I've been saving it for you. Here it is. It's down here. Come and get it. Arnold's got to go get it. He wrestles it away from an old lady, gets in a Johnny Cab. This is when the Johnny Cab starts being an asshole piece of shit, where it's like if it was a real person, you'd just be like, dude, or get in another cab. But here he's like, he's got to go. He's like, go. He's like, what is your destination? Go now. It's like when I'm trying to open my camera on my fucking phone so I can take a picture of my dog doing something cute. And then it's like, a video for, it's set on video or it's set on selfie cam. Like, no, shit. And it takes like so many steps where if I have like a point and shoot camera, I just go click. How hard is that? I don't know. You know. Technology. How do I open a PDF? You know, I'm not a Luddite or anything. I'm just like, when people think that that there's going to be like a technological singularity where we all become like transhuman and turn into like cyborgs or whatever. I'm like, or like even like things like Neuralink, all that shit. I'm like, man, you don't want that. Like, you don't want something. You don't want a chip in your brain. Some people do. They think they do, and then it's like, okay, oh, your chip broke, or you need to get a new chip. Like, you know, do you want something going wrong? That's what this whole movie is. Like, do you want something going wrong, or something, or being lied to? You know, about what technology is doing. I'm not like a paranoid person particularly, who thinks like it's the mark of the beast is coming. It's going to be technology. I hear people say stuff like that, and I'm like, interesting. But those are the same people who are like, don't get vaccinated. And I'm like, you should probably get vaccinated. So, you know, take everything I say with a grain of salt here. I'm not like shitting on all technology. I'm not stupid. I'm using technology right now. I'm just saying it's very relatable to need the technology to work right now, and then it fucks around and doesn't do what you want it to do, or malfunctions, which makes sense because, like, especially with computers and things, because, you know, if you just mistype one thing, everything's screwed. So anyway, so he rips out the useless fucker in the driver's seat, and he just drives away himself from bullets, escapes small world, as I call it. That's kind of the dreamscape that he's in right now. And he leaves a Johnny Cab, which then drives into a wall and explodes, which is what driverless cars, you know, that's the fear, right? Driverless cars are actually amazing. I gotta give them their due. Like some of the stuff that I've seen where, like, you'll just see a guy just like sitting in the driver's seat reading a book, and you would never know if you didn't look inside. Pretty cool. Yeah, anyway, I don't need a driverless car. I'd rather just drive myself. But maybe whatever. Maybe one day it'll just be the norm. Who knows? Anyway, so Arnold opens the case. Yes, in this little room. There's the cash in this world is red. It looks really cool. So, but a bunch of cash, which you'll need. Sound like a fucking fantasy much? It's just like, here's a case with everything you need to be an action hero, I guess. He's got like IDs, so he can pretend to be whoever. Like a cool spy, right? Cool tech hologram Arnold. This is like, you see this here where he can make like another version of himself. Doesn't use it for a really long time, so you're like, oh yeah, forgot he had that. But also, kind of the dual nature of Quaid at this point, you know, is being highlighted here because he can make a second Quaid to go distract his enemies. So there's two of them, but then there's another him, another double on TV, his evil twin, who's well, we don't, whatever, his past self, supposedly Hauser. Interesting names, like Hauser, like we're trying to house you. We're trying to contain you in our little scheme here. Whatever. And these are just like, it's just a cooler name than like Quaid. I'm Douglas Quaid. To like, I'm Hauser. You're not you, you're me. So this is him like confronting his fantasy self. You know, He's like, and he's saying like, you're not you. You're not who these people say you are. And you could look at this a lot of different ways. You could interpret this a gazillion different ways. But like mainly for me, it's like I either look at it as in this dual way where it's like being sold a different version of yourself is the ego trip. Hauser is sort of that package, being like, look, here's your Happy Meal, and the meat in the sandwich is a fake version of yourself. Makes sense? Or you could see it as like the world. If he really was Hauser at some point, you could see it. You could look at this as like Quaid is being lied to. What am I trying to say here? It's like you're being lied to about who you are, and you actually have a deeper self, who's like your true self. You know what I mean? And that's who he's chasing, I guess, is who he thinks is his true self, which is Hauser. Right? So there's a couple of ways to interpret all of this. Anyway, cool shots of goons driving in tunnel. Yes. Yeah, the world is really, really well built in this, but it's all background. It's like, yeah, you have him driving down a tunnel, similar to Blade Runner, sort of, but without the sparkly flashiness. It's more brutalist. And it just doesn't seem like a friendly world. Not one bit. So Hauser says there's enough shit. There's enough shit in his head to fuck Cohagen good. Cohagen being the big bad guy. And Hauser's just very smiley. It's like, I don't know. He just seems like sinister, even though he's helping Quaid. And is Quaid, apparently. Anyway, so it instructs Quaid to pull the bug out of his nose. So you get this great scene where Arnold is like, again, like the effects and the makeup are amazing, because he's like pulling this like red thing the size of a golf ball out of his nostril, and going, so much great mugging, like so many. He's subtle in some scenes when he's just like mild-mannered Douglas Quaid, but then like the more the movie goes along, you really get to see some great face pulling, just moving his face in some really fun ways. Even just little things that seem subtle in comparison are not. He's really theatrical in some ways. Anyway, get your ass to Mars. So they can't track him now. Quaid feeds the bug to a rat so that the goons are shooting rats. I like this. This is sort of like like I said, about the, like, just being strung along, being led along blindly. Because they're using their technology. They're not looking right fucking in front of them. Seeing Quaid is not in front of them. They're shooting at the ground and going like, there, because that's where the rat is. And that's what they're seeing on their monitor. They're going like, there, over there. And this is like, fucking, especially now, man, this relate. I mean, and I guess throughout the 20th century, but just, and now I think of the 20th century as being like very TV control. The TV is controlling your mind, and then now it's like the internet controlling your mind more. What's better? I don't know. But my point is, especially in the time of COVID, people being locked inside, being stuck inside a lot, and being isolated, and then just having their computer to tell them what reality is, that could go very badly. And it has in some places. Because you just get a warped version of reality. And so you get these guys who are shooting at rats while their enemy gets away because they're looking at a screen. And there's like, they shoot the rat and the blood goes all over the Hauser's face on the screen. Get your ass to Mars. Get your ass to Mars. Get your ass to Mars. Any excuse to just have a really cool shot. Like, bingo bango. Fucking love it. Now, we're on Mars. And I'm going to probably have to, I'll go a little longer. But I'm going to have to wrap up part one soon-ish. Dope matte painting of Mars. Yes, lots of those. It's, I don't know, having worked in visual effects for years and, being used to trying to get the edges all perfect and everything, it's kind of annoying seeing these old ones where you can see like a very, very obvious edge on stuff. I actually wouldn't mind seeing some of those cleaned up in like a newer version. Just the digital stuff. It wouldn't bother me. Some people, no, it's got to be the same. Fuck you. No, like don't add anything stupid. Just fix those hard edges so you can just take in the beauty of the matte paintings and models. PA. Oh yes, there's a PA over the this like airport or whatever, spaceport, where Quaid is landing on Mars. And it explains that it explains what anybody going to Mars would probably already fucking know, which is that there's a dome over top of this colony that keeps the air in, the like artificial air or whatever, and you can't smoke anywhere there. Okay. Yeah, but that's just, there's a dome. Okay. It's important, and it's made of glass, which is a weird choice, but whatever. I guess you can look outside at the beautiful red landscape. And very fascistic, very like, I mean, like airport security's not pleasant, but this is like, you got guys with machine guns. This is pretty serious. And then again, there's talk of Quado. Who's this Quado? They think he's George Washington. Yeah, like I said, bit of an American, like American themes throughout this, and metaphors and such. Now, there's this fat lady, who can only say 2 weeks. So they're asking asking her, supposedly, how long are you staying on Mars? And she says, 2 weeks. But then she starts glitching out, pulling her mouth open and going like, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. It's like, Now, Richter, he's starting to wake up here. He's like, I'm very intense and I'm thinking a lot. And then he sees this woman freaking out and he goes, that's Quaid. He's got good intuition here because it is Quaid. So all these, the great shot of like this woman's like head coming apart in layers. And then there's Quaid underneath and he takes the head off. He goes, catch, and he throws it at the soldiers. And she goes, get ready for a surprise, and blows them all up. So good job, Quaid. Killed a bunch of people. Awesome. You're on your way to being a hero. All you gotta do is kill more guys. And again, like we got goon chase going on here. Like, but it blows a hole in the dome. People fly out. So that's what happens. The change in pressure, I guess, because there's the difference in the pressurized dome, and you know, it blows you out into Mars and you die. So people are flying out. Big red button seals a door to save everyone's ass, but Quaid gets away, and he's like, so they're like, well, let's go get him. Open the fucking door up. And they're like, and this guy goes, no, they're all connected. I was like, shit, you can't open one door without all of the doors opening and killing everybody. Jeez. This technology, this interconnectedness has fucked us. Quaid is on a train. Hold on. Yeah. I missed a page or two last week and I felt like an asshole, so I've numbered them this time and making really sure I don't screw it up. Quaid is on a train. People are talking about air prices going up. Oh my God. So, yeah. Cohagen, the fucking king of Mars, whatever, president of Mars, CEO of Mars, he's a real asshole. And nobody cares on Earth. They're just like, well, fuck those guys. Which, you know, is familiar. It's like, I'll mention to people something going on in the Middle East, and they're like, hey, yeah. You know, because you're just like, yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fucked up over there. Because it's over there. Quaid and Dude discuss aliens. Yeah, so there's just little hints here and there. Love the script. Just like every little conversation has little hints and bits of stuff. They're just talking about how there's aliens. And so this is all very cool, this train going around Mars. Neat. Now, Cohagen in his office, his super awesome office overlooking the townspeople. You know what I mean? The commoners, the peasants. He has a chat with Richter. And he's like, and he spells out, he's like, the only thing that's getting in between me and doing whatever I want are these rebels. Yeah, he's pretty annoyed about that. And he's like, this Quado guy, I don't know. And this is where he says, like, look, I don't give you enough information to think. You do as you're told. That's what you do. Feeds his fish. Okay. Oh yeah, we see those fish die later. It's sad. So Quado wants what's in Quaid's head. Yeah, and he can get it out of there because he's psychic. There are psychics on this planet, Mars. They're all mutants, and they're because of pollution or whatever. But it makes them psychic. It's awesome. Love the world that's built here on Earth and on Mars. Like, it's huge. It's a fucking epic tale we're watching here. Real or not, you know? It's like you're watching all these events. You're watching the events of an epic hero's journey, whether it's all in Quaid's head or not. But you forget that whole aspect of it sometimes. So he's got to stop that from happening. Can't let Quaid and Quado get together. Oh yeah, and he's like, you better not screw this up or I'll erase your ass. Whoa, erase his ass. Whew. With all the, what does that even mean? It's something awful. He'd die for sure, or have his fucking head turned into goo. Who knows? Quaid is offered taxis belligerently. Yeah. So these are the real taxi drivers that aren't stupid little Johnny cabs, and they're in his face like, come on, I'll get you hookers. Come on, yeah, we'll get you some popsicles, whatever. Come on, everything you need, buddy. And Benny is the one who ends up being his guy. It's like this black dude who keeps saying that he's got 5 kids to feed. I got 5 kids to feed. That's his catchphrase. There's kind of this food court area. Yeah, a lot of this feels like the mall. There's like a food court area, restaurant, but it feels like a food court at a mall by this hotel front desk. So yeah, he's been sent to this hotel, as one would while on vacation. This feels like product placement inside of his fantasy. This hotel. Anyway, he goes to the front desk just to get something that he left for himself. And yeah, very cold, neon-y feel, not very inviting, not very homey. And he uses a fake identity. He gets this weird sheet of paper. It's like a poster for some sexy thing. And on the back, it is written, for a good time, call Melina. And he's like, can I borrow your pen, please? And he writes Melina underneath. Same handwriting, so you know it's from him. And he's like, aha, Melina, huh. So you're like, I don't know. Just looks funny, the two names next to each other. Anyway, and the front desk guy's like, okay, weirdo. And Quaid gets in the cab as the rebels start blowing shit up. Welcome to Mars, man. It's like, what do the rebels want? Same old shit. More money, more freedom, more air. Get the picture yet? These people are not treated well by the powerful dude at the top. They go to Venusville, red light district, I guess. And yeah, that's where you see the psychic mutants. It's pretty cool. There's like a cute little mutant girl who guesses Quaid is a Taurus. How did you guess? Because they're psychic. They go to a place called The Last Resort. It's like a sleazy joint. Classic stuff, right? And the music, though. Oh, man, I haven't even mentioned the music in this movie. Some of it's like Scarface or something. This is kind of like that. But it just reminds me of a level in one of the Sonic the Hedgehog games. The casino place. It sounds just like that. Like, yeah. Let's gamble and fuck hookers. Sorry, I'm just checking the time. Yeah, so it's sleazy joint, hookers everywhere. You got the hooker with 3 tits. Some people, this is all they know about this movie is that there's a hooker with 3 tits. Very well done. I almost thought there was a real thing. Incredible. It definitely sticks in your head, the 3 boobs. So I guess she's a mutant, but like the other mutants are like disgusting and have like weird growths on their faces and just look like they're in pain just being alive, or would be. But she just gets like a 3rd boob, or is that like surgery, or is that a birth defect? I don't know if that's ever explored, or if she's gonna get like her own movie at some point. That would be cool. Mel Molina is called over by Dean Norris from. So he's got this fucked up face, and he says to Quaid, like, you got a lot of nerve coming here after what you pulled, or you got a lot of nerve showing your face here. And he says, look who's talking. What's funny is that Dean Norris was on a show, he was on Breaking Bad, but another show called Under the Dome, right? That was Dean Norris. Kind of weird. You think like they watch this movie and they're like, we should just make a movie where we take 2 things out of this movie, Dean Norris and the dome. And then all this town's going to be under this dome, and then Dean Norris is there. And he's not a fan of Hauser. Oh, yeah, this is funny. So I saw this movie for the first time, I think. Yeah, it was late at night, and it was on TV. And so some of the stuff was edited. And so here, Melinick goes up to him, feels his arm, and then grabs his dick and says, whoa, what have you been feeding this thing? And he goes, blondes, which is funny and makes sense. In the TV version, they cut the part where she grabs his wiener, so she's just grabbing his arm and saying, what are you feeding this thing? And he goes, blondes. So that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. You just cut the whole thing, cut the whole joke. Anyway, yeah. By the way, another good way to watch this, if you're not going to watch it first thing in the morning, is in the middle of the night as a teenager when you're high. Yeah. Anyway, there's a midget hooker. Should I be saying sex worker? They're hookers. They're not made to seem like they're not. Like they look, it's just like going into a saloon in an Old West movie. It's just like, oh, make sure you wash your penis after having sex with old ping pong ball pussy over there. This is getting to be gross. I'm gonna take a break soon. Anyway, so in the other room, and this is classic stuff. Melina slaps him and says, "You son of a bitch." She thought he was killed, mad that he never contacted her. Indiana Jones, just like classic hero stuff. Like, where have you been? I'm so in love with you. I'm going to slap you because I thought you were dead or whatever. Total fantasy woman. This is the fantasy woman from his fantasy that he fantasized about and then created a fantasy life with. So she's hugging and kissing him. He explains he doesn't know who he is, let alone who she is. They move into this red light. Yeah, this is kind of cool lighting thing where they're moving towards this big red door and this red light, and it's getting redder on their faces as she's getting mad about him having a wife and how she used him to get inside. And inside what? We'll find out. Says that he's just after Cohagen, doesn't love her, blah 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 blah. And he's like, oh, come on. But she's like, no, I have a gun. I'm gonna point it at you. This is actually that same gun that I was talking about, the whatever the fuck it's called, gonks or whatever, or Claridge High Tech. Wait, there's like different guns that are the same. It's cool. This IMFDB, International Movie Firearm Database. Cool. That and the car one is you just go down a rabbit hole all friggin' day. Yeah, I gotta go soon. don't worry. We're going to pick this up in part 2. It'll be like, I was never gone. But let's just get to Quaid goes to this hotel. It's so cool and clean and sparse, but funky and futuristic. And okay, I'm gonna leave on a cliffhanger. Cohagen's on TV. He's declaring martial law, and then who shows up? The little weird dude from the Recall commercial. Yeah. So this is the big confrontation. I'm going to pick it up from here in part 2. What's this guy doing here? I don't know. Will we ever figure out what the fuck is going on? Find out in part 2. I got to go. Yeah, we'll pick it up from there. So go have a snack and have a cigarette and tell your mother you love her and come on back and we're going to talk about Total Recall some more. Okay, bye.
Every goddamn week. Every goddamn week. Every goddamn week.